कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी Reading from Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text 29. जय श्री निताई गौरचंद्र भगवान की जय। धर्मं प्रवदस्तस्य सकाल प्रत्युपस्थित यो योगिन छन्दमृत्योर वंचितास्तुतरायन धर्मस्प्रवदस्तस्य सकाल प्रत्युपस्थित यो योगिनश्चन्दमृत्योर वंचितास्तुतरायन धर्मं प्रवदतस्तस्य सकाल प्रत्युपस्थित यो योगिनश्चन्दमृत्योर वंचितास्तुतरायन धर्मं प्रवदतस्तस्य सकाल प्रत्युपस्थित धर्मं प्रवदतस्तस्य सकाल प्रत्युपस्थित यो योगिनश्चन्दमृत्योर धर्मं तस्य सकाल प्रत्युपस्थित यो योगिनश्चन्दमृत्योर वाञ्छितस्तुतरायण धर्मं प्रवदतस्तस्य सकाल प्रत्युपस्थित यो योगिनश्छन्दमृत्यु वाञ्छितस्तुतरायण. Word to word meaning. Dharmam, occupational duties. Pravadata, while describing. Tasya, his. Sa, that. Kala, time. Pratyupastita, exactly appeared. Ya, that is. Yogina, for the mystics. Chandamrityur, of one who dies according to one's own selection of time. Vanchita is desired by. Tu, but. Uttarayana, the period when the sun runs on the northern horizon. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. While Bhishmadev was describing occupational duties, the sun's course ran into the northern hemisphere. This period is desired by the mystics who die at their will. The perfect yogis or mystic can leave the material body at their own sweet will at this suitable time and go to the suitable planet desired by them. In the Bhagavad Gita 8:24, it is said that self-realized souls who have exactly identified themselves with the interest of the Supreme Lord can generally leave the material body during the time of the fire god's effulgence and when the sun is in the northern horizon, and thus achieve the transcendental sky. In the Vedas, these times are considered auspicious for quitting the body, and they are taken advantage of by the expert mystics who have perfected the system. Perfection of yoga means attainment of such supermental states as to be able to leave the material body as desired. Yogis can also reach any planet within no time without a material vehicle. The yogis can reach the highest planetary system within a very short time, and this is impossible for the materialist. Even attempting to reach the highest planet will take millions of years at the speed of millions of miles per hour. This is a different science, and Bhishmadev knew well how to utilize it. He was just waiting for the suitable moment to quit his material body, and the golden opportunity arrived when he was instructing his noble grandsons, the Pandavas. He thus prepared himself to quit his body before the exalted Lord Krishna. The pious Pandavas and the great sages, headed by Bhagavan Vyas, etc., all great souls. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं विनभूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवां च श्रीरूपं सागरजातान् सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतुसे नमः. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे हरे कृष्ण। I seek blessings of all the Vaishnavas, and that I can speak for the in the glorification of Lord Bhagavatam, and it is pleasing to all the Vaishnavas. So Bhagavatam is so glorious that it directly, as we see in the beginning of Bhagavatam, it starts with the two questions asked by the sages, that what is important question asked by Parikshit Maharaj, which is narrated again by the Suta Goswami to Sukdev to Shaunakadi Rishis, that what is the duty of a dying man, which is generally not much discussed and emphasis in any people, many people living in this world. But Bhagavatam goes for the uh, truth, for the truth in the world, that how everybody is, how death is so inevitable, and many places this the incidents about what is incidents about explanation regarding what is after death, the reality of life is discussed. And this is one of the such incident where Bhishma Dev, which is on his deathbed, though is giving a wonderful discourse here, but the situation is so intense. And here is the shloka where it explained that how he concluded his talk, and then the time arrived when, as per mention, that sun is entering into the northern hemisphere. So this time of death is very crucial time, and here Prabhupada is telling that it is very difficult to understand that when death will come, and mystic yogis can understand. Once Prabhupada was uh, going on morning walk, so before that, that time, while going, there was one Prabhupada disciple, Nischinti Prabhu. He was going with Prabhupada. So some days before he arrived at Hawaii, because I will be getting some service with Prabhupada, like that. So generally, whenever Prabhupada used to travel, Prabhupada was so amazing. He used to ask about various things. Okay, what you building? What is this building? And like that. So before coming that place, it was around Gaur Purnima time, and he was thinking that I will get information about all the things in this place, so that whenever Prabhupada will ask something, I will answer. So Prabhupada came at Hawaii, and before that, Prabhuji felt that okay, I am completely prepared. I know all the different main places in this city, and various hotels and various beaches, what all places, prominent places are there. And he came with Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was walking. And while walking, Prabhupada was he because that on beach, na, that Prabhupada's footstep was going, and then he was walking behind and thinking, okay, now Prabhupada will ask some question, and then I will answer, and then I will be the man. I will the one who will give answer to those Prabhupada's questions. And suddenly Prabhupada stopped at one place, and he was pointed about some kind of machine which was just lying down. And Prabhupada asked, what is that? And then he was not knowing. He took information about everything, but that new machine he was unaware of. Then suddenly somebody from behind told that, Prabhupada, this is a machine which can tell how much you walked, just like we have not today now. watches that how much footsteps you covered. And then immediately Prabhupada says, oh, they can make machine which will calculate how much one walk. But can they find out the machine, make the machine which tells that how far is our death? You can make a machine how far you have walked, but how can they make a machine where they can tell how far is the death? So then Prabhupada was Prabhuji was very much afraid and he was nervous also because he could not answer. At the same time, he was amazed that Prabhupada can ask which question and how he can conclude, how he can see the things through the Shastric point of view. So Prabhupada always used to see the things and then relate it to the scriptures. So here, and Prabhupada also mentioned that yogis, they can understand that how far is the death. So for them to know the importance, that knowing the death is how much important, or that's why he said asked the question like that. But here Prabhupada is saying that yogis can understand that when the death is coming. And also Prabhupada gave reference of Bhagavad Gita 8.124. So various shlokas in 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has mentioned that how the yogis, they uh, they quit body at different instances to get the desired results. And there Krishna mentions different personalities, that the fruity workers, how they quit to get their desired results, how the yogis quit, and how it is relevant to the how much it is relevant to the devotees. And before telling that where the a soul goes, Krishna tells that how much is what is the destination, what is the nature. So before explaining, okay, devotees will go to the spiritual world after death, so what is the nature of spiritual world, that also Krishna explains in several chapters, in eight several verses in 8 chapter. So initially Krishna says that how much it is important to remember, so that he explained before explaining the various destination. So he gives the general law that whatever we remember at the time of death, that abode we will attain. And then he explained that okay, that abode, that spiritual world, how it is, that he explains in several shlokas. And then he tells that uh, in 2024, which reference Prabhupada gives here, that if one has to attain the place of light where the Brahmajyoti, then he he desired to quit the body in fortnight of waxing moon, or 6 month when sun travels in northern hemisphere, where the uh, Vishmadev also is quitting the body. And then he tells for Karmakandi in 84 shloka. I will just So in 8.24, Krishna says that those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fiery god in light at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in north. Means starting from the Sankranti, I think, from the northern Uttarayan starts. So this is the desired destination for the yogis. Then in 25th, he tells about the path of those who wanted to merge in Brahma Jyoti. So for them, he says, the mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, or the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon planet, but again comes back. So this Prabhupada Krishna is telling about those who desire to go to heavenly planet. Moon is Prabhupada referred to as a heavenly planet. So by going there, but Prabhupada said again you have to come back. So, and then he says in 26, according to the Vedic opinion, there are two ways of passing from his world, one in the light and one in the darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back, but when one passes in darkness, he returns. So, like that, after giving different condition, Krishna says that for devotees, he doesn't have to matter. So, he conclude with 28 sloka that Vedeshu yagyeshu tapashu chaiva daneshu yat punya phalam pratishtam Attenti tatsarvam idam viditva yogi param sthanam upayati chatyam. So this yogi, this different yogi, who he gets param sthanam. So Prabhupada, as Krishna is telling, the person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the result derived from studying the Vedas, performing austere sacrifice, means yogis, giving charity or pursuing philosophical and fruity activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all this. And at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. So he doesn't have to worry about all these different conditions. A devotee. So Tukaram also says in his sloka that, तुका मने हरीचा दासा शुभ काळ सर्व दिशा. For him, he doesn't have to bother. But for what he has to do in order to not to bother, he has to perform devotional service. It's in this one shloka before giving the different result. Prabhupada also says in the purport that devotee don't have to bother when he is engaged. So in this, in 28 shloka, in end of this chapter also, uh, Krishna said that tasmat sarveshu yut kaleshu, and even in while giving the condition in 8.6 also Krishna says that mam anusmara yujjasa sasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yujjashu. Though in previous loka he said that you have to just remember at the time of death, it doesn't mean that you will just remember at the time of death by any way. It is not possible. Person is so afraid. One disciple of Prabhupada was telling that, Prabhupada, I always used to ask question to my mother that I am very fearful of death. I always used to think, oh, I am in a coffin, and I have left the body, and what will happen after the death? And whenever he used to ask his mother that, okay, are you also afraid of death? So she used to say, no, I am not afraid of death. But when after coming in Krishna consciousness, he understood that everybody is actually afraid of death. And after some days, when he was interacting with his mother, then she was telling that whenever she used to go in a flight, she was very fearful what will happen, that whether flight will land or will go anywhere, and will crash or something like that. So while talking with Prabhupada, then he was asking that how it was that some people are not afraid. So then Prabhupada said that they only don't know that what will happen after death or what will happen at the time of death. That ignorance is telling them that you don't have to be worried. So many people pass various comments that okay, death is just sleep. Of course, one way it is sleep and you get up, but it is for devotees. But it is not such a simple thing. We have a class and we are not prepared, then we understand while chanting how many thought comes behind so many different quotation. so so it is so intense moment that it is not that much easy to remember at the time of death. So to have that moment and to really remember Krishna, it takes a practice. So it doesn't mean that we have to practice dying, but it is very easy to see in our own life that it is not that much easy to remember at the time of death. So Bhishma Dev is showing that Bhishma, okay, at the time of death he is remembering Krishna, and he also actually wanted Krishna to come. So Acharya also said that it is not that he he was waiting for Uttarayan to come, but he was actually waiting for Krishna to come, and he that's why he wanted, he was waiting. It is not that he Uttarayan will come, and that's why that way he got the auspicious death. It is not like that. Even Prabhupada also shows by his example that how he could quitted his body. Prabhupada, even in 1976, in June itself, when Prabhupada was in Hawaii only, that time one devotee was sharing, I forgot his name. He was telling that that time only Prabhupada understood that my death is his death is coming. So he at middle of the night 12:30 Prabhupada called his servant. That time Tamal Krishna Maharaj was also there, and that time onward only Tamal Krishna Maharaj became Prabhupada's servant also. So Prabhupada called one devotee at 12:30 and told that, oh, I am feeling pain in my feet, and I am feeling I feeling that my teeth are loosed, and I am going for urination a lot. It means my death is coming, like that Prabhupada was telling. So that time only Prabhupada understood kind of that death is coming, and he was ready. Many times he himself used to quote that shloka about Kulashekara. Krishna Tvadiya Padapankaj Panjarantastu me Advatam Vishtu me Raja Hansam Prana Pranaya Samaj Kapavata Pittam Kanthavarod Sravanam Kudaste. So he used to quote the shloka about Kulashekara that this is so painful at the time of death, in the old days. To remember Krishna is not easy. So now Krishna, I have healthy body. I can at least endeavor, as Krishna also said in Bhagavad Gita after this 8.6, that for to have a remembrance at the time of death, we have to practice Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena. Now only we have to be engaged in remembering Krishna. So Prabhupada used to quote this shloka and used to say that we have to prepare for our death. We prepare for exam and then we understand. And for that we may have some small unit test. So Maharaj was telling in one of the lecture that many times just preparing at the time of last exam, and if it is only one exam, then preparing is not so easy. So that is the reason people keep unit test, small test. So then you understand, oh, I can't write. Even though I have read this, I cannot write. So then final, we have then final exam in which everything comes, and we have tried to remember it in several unit exam also. So Bhakti Purushottam Swami Maharaj, he also said na, that death is like final exam. So why final exam? Other small exam keeps coming. Small exams like we somebody goes to the terrible accident, or somebody goes to the very severe disease. But if we don't take lesson at that time, even we will not prepare for the final exam also. For some of the chapters, we never used to study in unit test, and at the end also, we if you don't study, then we will not able to write for the final exam also. But this small exams tells us that we have to be quite prepared at the time of death. One devotee once, he lost his one shirt once, and that time he was frantically searching about that shirt, and later somehow he thought, okay, I will take another shirt. So generally this happened now, many times it happened with mobile. If mobile lost, because everything is in mobile, your transaction is in mobile, your many passwords in mobile. So it more happened with mobile, but we can see that how much it will happen at the time of death when everything will be taken away. And there is no return. We may think, okay, mobile gaya to के दूसरा लेंगे, password का फिर I will do through some I can block this card and will take another. But for at the time of death, everything will be taken away, and we know that for sure that it will not come back. So how much we should be prepared for that, the final exam? And Prabhupada was showing by the example that how much he was prepared. At the end also, when Prabhupada was discussing, devotee asked that, Prabhupada, anything we should do for you? So Prabhupada was saying that, koi ichha nahi. Like that, Prabhupada was saying that. He was not having desire. And by taking shelter of Prabhupada's instruction and uh, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, we can also prepare. In one of the conversation Prabhupada was telling, Prabhupada actually was giving one kind of conversation in one theater. There he was discussing. Many devotees were there. It was a class basically, but people were less, and then he was discussing. But somehow the mic system was not proper. So, but that was making people to just talk in between and like that. And some crowd was little new also, so they were not giving attention and they were talking among themselves. And suddenly one hippie, they were kind of a philosopher mixed hippie. So they were thinking they're very big philosopher, but they wanted to think, they were thinking that, okay, we will ask some very unique question to this person, this Swami, and we will make him little low like that. And then they were asking that, Swamiji, many Swamijis came here and they did so many things. What you can do for us? Different Swamis come, they say that, okay, I will make you God. They have many different specifications. What is your specification? And Prabhupada was telling that, I can save you from death. Then everywhere it was silent. They started hearing little seriously. Okay, this person is telling something which is quite different, because nobody said like this. So Prabhupada was giving lot of confidence to people that, oh, he can give a solution for death. Prabhupada has given it in various books. Once one disciple of Indadum Swami Maharaj, he was visiting Israel. So there are some devotees, they had some community, and they, most of the country is in Mohammedan, so they were having small preaching, and they called Maharaj, Bhakti Rasayan Maharaj, I think. So he came and he was there. So some group, some well-wishers, they came and they called them for visit. But these people are Mohammedan, so he was thinking that how can we go and how should we go? So Maharaj was taking one kartal with him. So devotee said, need not to have kartal because we can't do anything. We'll just go, speak something and we'll come back. But Maharaj thought that, oh, our movement is Harinam Sankirtan. How can we not take kartal mridanga? So then he had some small kartal, then he took it with him. And he went there. So after they took in a car in very corner of the cities. And from there they went on the one of the hill. And it was like, the city was basically surrounded by the hills. And after going there, these all Mohammedan people, they asked devotees to make kirtan. So devotees are thinking that why these people are saying to do kirtan and what is their agenda. So then they said, oh, it is very auspicious to do kirtan. So you please do kirtan, your kirtan like that. Then everybody was looking here where they're clapping. Then Maharaj suddenly took out his kartal and he started playing kartal. Then they thought, okay, how Maharaj brought kartal, but let it be. Then they performed kirtan. They came down the hill, and they thought, okay, nice people to share Krishna Katha, share our books and like that. But they took them to another hill, and there also they asked to do kirtan. Again they came up like that. They went round the city, and after doing kirtan at almost round the city, then they came down. They went there at one place. It was kind of a university and big place where all books were kept, and they were going in between, and they were seeing different philosophy books were kept. Various philosophy throughout the world existed. And after going there were some people, they were just studying the books, and all of them came at one hall where these people were sitting. and they called devotees, and then they started talking that, see, we have this big area surrounded by different books. It is having philosophy of whatever philosophy existed in the world, that all there in this in the form of books here. And we also have your spiritual founder Acharya's teaching in terms of his all books here, and we have read the books. And after reading those books, we understood that there is only these books can give solution for all the problems in the world. And that is why we asked you to do kirtan here, like that. So Prabhupada, in his books and his teachings, through his morning walks, several instances he has given all his teachings by which solution to the mankind can be given for all the problems. So though the several instances in the terms of yogis quitting the body is given, the Prabhupada also concludes, and Krishna also in 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he concludes that we, uh, the yogis, sorry, devotees don't have to worry about different times and circumstances. He's happy. He's uh, or he makes himself happy in just glorifying the Lord and repeating the words of the Lord. So after receiving this process, we should be very careful about following this process in terms of chanting the holy name and associating with devotees. So one more incident about the quitting the body, I remembered that about Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. He tells that when while staying with devotees, we should value devotees. How it is important to value devotees, because most of the time those devotees will be there when we are quitting this body. And he asked to make some exercise that you just think that, suppose you are about to leave the body, and if you meditate upon it, then okay, mostly these people will be there around me, with whom I was staying. Okay, and then for them to pray for me at the time of my death, what is important, that I should not have any grudges with them. I should have wonderful relationship with them. And for that, what is required, that how can I develop nice relationship with them, like that. He gives exercise. I just missed a little bit. I forgot to recollect what the exact past time. So but through that, he wanted to tell that if we have wonderful relationship with devotees, then, and if we are serving them, pleasing them nicely, then those devotee will help us to remember Krishna at the time of death. And also we ourselves has to endeavor for that, for making that relation, and for ourselves also to remember Krishna. So one devotee was also telling that every day when we chant the holy name, so that chanting of the holy name, in order to have nice experience, we have to develop the service attitude, and that we can develop throughout the day. So in cultivating that uh, mood by daily serving devotees, every day, next day our chanting can be nice. So throughout the day we can understand that how we can have wonderful service attitude in a day, so that our next day chanting can be nice. Or that also, like preparing for the chanting. So every day we pass with, we're developing service attitude and uh, understanding the importance of chanting. It is like every day preparing for the death. So that preparation for the death is will happen when we uh, develop wonderful chanting and serving devotees. So somehow I prepared something for the short talk. Yes. So I just thought to summarize that whatever little bit I prepared. So we saw that various slokas in 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna explained the different destination of the yogis, and how they prepare, and how it is irrelevant not much relevant for the devotees when they are fully immersed in serving the devotees and Lord. And how Bhishmadev, he was prepared, and it was not for, he was waiting for the Uttarayan to come, but it was actually he was waiting for Krishna and Pandavas to come at the time of leaving his body. And with the several instances, how we saw that Prabhupada, he also was prepared. He was not only himself prepared, and he showed how to us also how we should be prepared at the time of death. And by the taking help of his teachings and devotees association, we can also prepare for uh, death like that. Any so I'll stop here. Thank you. Question. Is your question? We can discuss. Mm. Yes. Yeah. So actually, one of the lecture I was hearing. So there, yeah, you want to conclude? Yeah. So there um, uh, Maharaj was saying that both the reason he was waiting, he wanted to instruct Pandavas also. That is one of the reason, and he wanted to take darshan of Lord also. So that instructing Pandavas also one of the reason through which Krishna also wanted to glorify Bhishmadev. Uttaranya. Yeah. Mm. Yes. Opportunity for Krishna and Pandavas to come. So two reason I told for taking darshan of Krishna and Pandavas, and two second is instructing Pandavas. Mm. Yeah. Yes. So instruction got completed. I maybe. Yes. Yes. Uttarayan. Sankranti. So both the purpose happened then. Then he decided to leave the body like that. We'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki